Layoffs are hard, Dekemz.
Mm.
Layoffs are, whew, it's something I really, I pray no one experiences, but unfortunately, it's happening now, and it's even, much more than that I would say we've even experienced in the last couple of years. In fact,
Mm.
when I was doing some research, um, there's been over 200,000
Hmm.
layoffs in the last 12 months,
Hmm.
Dekemz.
Wow.
Yeah, can you beat that? And not just tech. It's tech, it's consulting, it's e-commerce, and a whole, like, it's really, it has affected, impacted,
Education,
yeah, education. So,
humanitarian
yeah,
services. Yeah.
yeah, it's across board. It's honestly, it's really hard. I'm literally trying to, because it's just something that I know is just no one should should experience. Yeah.
It's just work. We're trying not to take it too seriously.
But really, it is your career, and you need to take ownership of it. Hi guys, welcome back.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hello.
I love your dress, Dickens.
Oh, thank you. This old thing.
It's nice. It's bright. It's colorful.
It's
It's
spring.
it's spring. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
springy.
Mm.
It's springy.
Thank you.
Yes, yes,
Thank
yes,
you. And
yes,
I
yes.
love your Ankara top. Is it
Thank you.
Ankara?
I'll call it that. Yes,
Okay.
it's like
It's
a.
it's really, really lovely.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
It's
you.
even nicer when you're standing. It's so good. I like it.
Oh, oh.
When next you go to
Awesome.
Nigeria, I want one.
Okay, I got you. I got you. I got
Thank
you.
you.
Oh no, the person who made this is no longer in Nigeria, but yeah, I got you. I'll find a replacement. Don't worry.
Okay.
I got you. I got you. Okay, guys, I hope you're doing okay as well, and your week, month, day has been off to a great start. So today, we're speaking about layoffs, and really, it sucks.
It does suck.
It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Definitely, it really sucks. But it's happening, even much more now than I think we've ever experienced. But I know there's been, sometimes, like, I think, 2008, for example, there was a massive layoff with
Yeah.
the Great Depression and all that. COVID, there was also, another layer, especially for hospitality services and all of those, that space.
Mm.
And now with everything going on, tariffs, new administration, new government here and there, like,
Mm-hmm.
just, and they just, really, the way the economy is just, you know, performing at this time,
Yeah.
it just really impacted so many things. And
Yeah.
we just thought it was important that we talk about this now and just help people who are going through this,
Mm-hmm.
to just, not, when I say, just to encourage, and maybe just make it a little bit easier on
Yeah.
them. No matter, I know we may not do so much, but actually just make an impact in whatever little way, and just help them navigate through this season. Because again, it's not permanent.
It's
You
not.
know, it's not permanent. It's not something that is defines you or your career. No, it's not anything like that. But yeah, we just want to offer some form of tips, encouragement to just help and support people who are navigating that season now, and help them just bounce better and bounce back even more.
Yeah.
You guys want to go?
Yeah. Thanks for that intro. I just wanted to add that layoffs aren't a personal failure. And I guess the first point we have here is the emotional impact
Yeah.
layoffs have on us as
Mm-hmm.
people. So the first point here is shock and grief.
Yeah.
When you get laid off, it's some of the strong emotions you feel are shock and grief.
Mm-hmm.
Um, think of layoffs like emotional the emotional pull layoffs have on your heart um is similar to like the emotional pull breakups have on
Mm,
your heart.
yeah.
So sorry, I was spacing out for a minute because or for a sec because I was just my brain was trying to also remember something that I'd read that psychologists have stated that sorry, this is sort of off topic. Maybe not. Psychologists have stated that the pain of emotional pain
Mm.
is similar to physical pain,
Yeah. True.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
imagine a knife cut
Mm.
or a stab or whatever. So emotional pain is as painful as physical pain. It's just that it's on the
Mm-hmm.
inside.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to back to what we're saying. The strong emotions you feel um, after you've been laid off are shock and grief, and it's similar to like a relationship breakup.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're grieving the career you had, you're grieving the
Mm.
relationships you had in that
Mm.
organization,
Mm.
and you're also shocked.
Mm.
Like, why me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, nobody, nobody envisages that they are going to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
The second is the roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
So the strong emotions you feel are shock and grief.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start feeling like a potpourri of different
Mm.
emotions:
Mm.
anger, shame,
Mm-hmm.
guilt, anxiety,
Mm.
relief
Mm.
sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because layoffs don't just happen. A
Yeah.
lot of times there are all these rumors around
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking, am I going to be affected? Am I
Mm-hmm.
not going to be
Mm-hmm.
affected?
Mm-hmm.
So you're in that sort of limbo,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
For a while. And so sometimes there's this slight feeling of relief, like, oh, at least now I know.
I know. Mm.
But when layoffs happen, you're going through this potpourri of emotions. So many emotions are tugging at you. You're angry, you're feeling ashamed. Should I share with people? Should I
Mm.
not share with people? Would people think that this is a direct reflection of my
Mm.
worth,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
abilities?
Yeah.
So you're going through all of these things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard.
Mm.
It is so hard to understand all of these emotions all at
Mm.
once. And then you start feeling the pressure to stay strong. As Christians, again, there's this thing we like to do: rise above it. It is
Mm.
well.
Mm.
Let's not grieve like people without hope.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
there's just this pull toward,
Mm.
just dust it off your
Yeah.
shoulder and be
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely not.
It's not easy to
Absolutely not.
process all those emotions you're
Mm.
feeling.
Mm.
And then there is also the myth of, if I just worked harder, maybe this wouldn't have happened to me.
Mm.
You probably were
Mm.
doing the best. You were doing your best.
Yeah.
But there's this myth, that we carry, this myth we tell. This myth people sort of herald when they get laid off. Maybe if I'd worked harder, maybe if
Mm.
I'd stayed longer hours, maybe if I'd just been more available during the weekends or
Mm-hmm.
after
Mm.
hours and things like that. It's a myth. Layoffs sometimes don't necessarily
Yeah.
have to do
Yep.
with your performance, your availability, and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Sometimes it's just workforce
Yeah.
reduction.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just raw cut. You said something about, I believe it was you that was saying or talking about, just eliminating roles,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And in this podcast, we've talked a lot about AI.
Mm-hmm.
AI has come. Some roles
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
become less relevant
Mm-hmm.
because AI has taken
Taking
over
over.
those roles.
Yeah.
So even though you were fantastic and stellar, there's just a faster way of doing it now. So anyway, the first thing when it comes to layoff is this emotional impact.
Yeah. Thank you, Dekemz. Yeah, that emotional impact. I think is a part that we recognize it and really acknowledge that in the process of
Yeah.
after a layoff.
Yeah.
And second thing I had is then, okay, what steps, like first steps, to take, after a layoff. And of course, once you've, one like the emotional phase, the emotional impact phase, and all that, it's important that you recognize it and then you sort of, acknowledge feelings and all of the things that happened there. But I think, once you've been able to move past that, hopefully with all the support and everything that you need, there are also some steps that you can take. And I think in some countries, even in Nigeria, I remember some people who maybe were in a similar situation, and where I think there's a pension law that allows you to withdraw part of your pension
yes.
if you've been out of job for, I think, 4 months. So I think basically first thing I'm saying, like, just apply for whatever, whether it's an employment insurance like we have here in Canada. I'm sure there are other alternatives. I don't know the particular alternatives now, maybe in the UK or the US, but there are alternatives to that, I believe. And then also in Nigeria as well, like, you can actually withdraw
25%.
yes, of your pension, and hopefully that employer has been remitting your pension, because that's another story for another day. But we won't even get to that
Oh
right
my
now. But
gosh.
I really do hope,
Yeah.
that they have been remitting your pension and it's up to date as at the day that thing happened, and then you can also apply for it. But I think yes, just to make sure that you apply for those benefits. And before I go to the next one, I think it's just one thing to just say, just of course, not preparing, again, I don't think we can say, oh, maybe prepare for a layoff.
Yeah.
We don't even want to be there. Like, we don't even want to be in that space. But I'll just say rather is to prepare for a worst case scenario. And it may not be about layoff, but just be anything that pertains to your life. And which I've talked about it before,
Yeah.
building an emergency fund.
Yeah. Save for the
Because
rainy day.
guess what? These benefits and insurance it just be enough to help you get by. It really will not. I don't think it's enough for you to fund maybe the kind of lifestyle that you had at that point where you had a regular job. So I think it's even beyond all of this, it should be like an add-on.
Yeah.
Not the main source.
Yeah.
Or what you are drawing from. So, and people recommend, I think we said this before in the podcast, but people recommend maybe 4 months, 6 months. But again, whatever you're comfortable doing, just make sure that you have a fully funded emergency fund.
Yeah.
Another thing, I think I have here is to also review the severance package. I think most sort of layoffs come with that. So review that. And if you need to speak to someone, please do. Involve a legal person, seek guidance, just to make sure that you're getting the best of the package that is to offer, and not just just maybe jumping at the word. Just make sure you seek guidance, maybe speak to a lawyer or maybe a trusted person that also maybe is familiar or is knowledgeable in that field, right? That can also offer some advice. But I think you make sure that you speak, you also seek that advice as well. And then you can still linking back to in terms of emergency funding, and just you're also looking at your lifestyle. Obviously you probably need to make some adjustments, see what needs to, just what needs to, maybe be paused, in the meantime, what needs to carry on. Of course, there's some things that would continue to move on, like mortgage, like utilities, and all of those things. Those are like things that are almost like non-negotiable, because they have a broader impact if you miss a payment or things like that. So it's just reviewing those other things that, like, if it doesn't happen, I won't die. Like I can take this temporary, pause on this to things get settled and all of that. So I think just do that reflection, see what around you, what your lifestyle, your home. Just look at those things that you probably need to cut, adjust, budget, and all of those things while you prepare for just that season, that phase of your life.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for those points, Bukola. I'll say the next point is rebuilding your confidence.
Yeah.
Remember, we said that there is an emotional impact layoff has on your self and self-esteem and things like that. So how do you rebuild once you've been hit by this sort of grief? And these are points you already know, so we're just going to reiterate them.
Yeah.
One is your identity is more than a job title. I'm sure you know that, but as human beings, sometimes we tie our worth to our jobs.
Yes.
You're not your job. You're not the car you drive. You're not the home you're living. Your identity is found in Christ, I guess.
Yep.
So you're not that job title. Yes, you've lost it, but you've not lost your self-worth. So just like keep telling yourself and keep reminding yourself of that truth and that fact, because it is fact. The second is try to talk to mentors or trusted friends. One thing that people who have gotten laid off do, and it's not something they're intentionally doing, it's just emotional stuff, right? They tend to, or you might find yourself isolating yourself. Why? Because you're feeling shame. You're feeling like, why me? Now people will be thinking I can't afford certain things. You go out with your friend and maybe your friend offers to pay, and somehow you're reading meanings into that, and your friend would have offered anyway, even if you had a 7-figure job. It's just courtesy or whatever. And then you start to feel like, no, I don't want to go out, I don't want to hang out with my friends, so they don't feel like they have to care for me or sponsor me.
Or you now become what they call a charity project or something like that.
Yes, they're doing let them not do GoFundMe. But you find yourself isolating yourself. Do not do that. open up to people, talk to people. There's this thing that I see on LinkedIn, and I think is so brave, especially when there's like a massive consulting cut or tech cut. You see people come on LinkedIn and just state that they were laid
Yes,
off
yes, I see
and
that a
they're
lot.
open to
Yeah,
work,
yeah.
and then they list the achievements
Mhm,
that they had
mhm,
in that company.
mm.
And apparently it's had like a high success rate
Oh, okay.
because people see other companies see it
Yeah,
and pick
I'll
them
pick
up.
them.
They've done projects that maybe smaller companies need. The pay might even be better, or it might be lower,
True,
whatever. But point
true.
is they get other
Yeah.
opportunities. So they don't isolate
Mm,
themselves. Instead, they
mm,
speak loudly about it,
mm.
they shout about it so that they can
Yeah,
get help
yeah,
quickly. So it's the same thing, don't isolate yourself. Talk to your mentors, talk to trusted friends. Sometimes solutions are with people. People
yeah,
have the
yeah.
solutions, the solutions we need. But when you isolate yourself and you keep quiet, people don't know what you're going
Mm,
through.
mm.
There are people that hide the fact that they were laid off,
Yeah.
and they just keep telling people, oh, everything is good,
Mm-hmm,
work is
mm-hmm.
fine. So how are people supposed to help you if they don't know that you're going through
True,
stuff?
true.
The third point here is
Mm.
write down your wins and what you've accomplished. Like I said, there are people on LinkedIn that just put their
Yeah.
accomplishments there, like, oh, these are the things I've done. I'm open to work, blah blah blah.
Mm.
And like we said in the last episode, sometimes those are altars to remind yourself, you know what, I'm that girl,
Mm,
right? I
mm,
am that girl
mm,
because what? It took me 1 year to achieve all of these things in company X. So it's also like an altar you're building, just
yeah,
reminding yourself
yeah.
that, I'm someone who has
Mm,
accomplished so much and good is going to come to
mm-hmm,
me.
yeah.
And sometimes you can put it out on platforms like LinkedIn, and what other
Mm-hmm,
platform
yeah,
that could reach eyeballs, and people who are looking for your skills can reach you.
yeah, yeah.
The last point here is, maybe if you're really going through a tough time, if you're really, really going through a tough time because of a layoff, maybe consider therapy. Because the thing with rejection is, and I was talking to a doctor earlier today, and he was saying something about how, depression, we think that, oh, because something happened, you become depressed.
Mm.
But that is not necessarily true. That thing just sort of
Triggered it.
triggered it,
Mm.
ignited it. It was
Yeah,
always there,
yeah.
just lying
Mm-hmm,
fallow
mm-hmm,
and quiet
mm,
and stealth.
mm,
Sometimes these situations trigger it, and you just find yourself responding very negatively
mm,
to what has happened.
mm,
So sometimes you might have to seek therapy. If you find
mm,
yourself, responding very like extremely
mm,
negative to, like, everybody's going to have a downtime. Everybody's going to feel low if this happens. But if you feel yourself spiraling
mm,
into a deep place of depression,
mm,
therapy is something that might be useful. Support groups.
mm,
I know that when they have all this massive tech
mm,
layoffs
mm.
and whatever, the people who have been laid off create these support groups
Right,
just to help one
right,
another, to
right,
encourage one
right.
another,
Yeah.
share what's it called, share opportunities
Mm,
and things like
mm,
that. So don't shy away from things like
mm-hmm,
that. Embrace it.
mm,
Embrace all the help.
mm.
Don't feel shame.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dickens, for sharing. And it just leads very nicely into the next point around just getting back after a layoff is planning your next move. And I think Dickens already touched on a number of things there, but obviously I think obvious one is
Mhm.
update your resume. That's like table stick, but yeah, definitely update your resume and LinkedIn as well. As just I think that's, and they can really touch on something very, very key that I've also noticed, that people just go like when it happens, like particularly for the big ones that happen in
Mm,
the tech space, consulting space, people just go on like, immediately update their LinkedIn, put it open to work,
yeah.
and then just list their. And when you do that, I think the opportunity that Dekemz said is to really shout about your
Yeah.
accomplishments. The impact you made, of course, make them numbers driven, figure driven, and the made this huge impact by this so percentage,
Mm,
and all that. And also have your CV also updated as well. Again, in fact, they can already touch on it. Don't reach out to your network. Don't isolate yourself, and don't be afraid to let people know what's really going on, because you really never know. Like, You never know what, who that person will just be the next key to your other the next opportunity. So please do not, hold back. Just don't isolate yourself. Reach out to your network and let the people know that you're transiting. This is
Yeah.
what has happened and all of that.
Yeah.
Again, another thing you could explore is maybe some kind of volunteer work, or contract work or something. Just again, you want to also keep yourself busy, right, and occupied, and just making sure that you're just doing something meaningful while you're looking for the next opportunity. So whether you're burying yourself into maybe taking new courses, or maybe you're doing some volunteer work, or joining an organization who is doing some work that speaks to the things that you're passionate about, or it's taking up a consulting gig. And again, the world now is a gig economy,
Yeah.
right? So it can be getting opportunities in another country, not even necessarily, maybe finding an opportunity on Upwork or all of those, remote job sites. So it's really just make sure that you are, explore those type of work, right, in the meantime. And then, of course, another thing you want to do is just, in this time, while making all these steps, don't forget to also take some time to just reflect and be sure that you are getting what you want, and not just, if that is the way, I put it here, that that you're getting what you want, not just what is next.
Yeah.
That's very key. So you want to make sure that you don't want to just hop on that, next one. This is what, let me just get in there and all of that. Make sure that is, really think about it. Because sometimes, like, I think in the intro when Dekemz was talking about it, that it could be a relief too. So maybe aside even being a relief, just be like, oh, finally, maybe you just need that push for you, like you wanted to leave, you wanted to leave and all that. I just need that big push that, oh, okay, now I think this is the answer I'm looking for. Let me now delve into this. So make sure that you are not just going to the next thing, but it's really what you want. Because sometimes these kind of scenarios just open a new door you never even expected.
Absolutely. As you were talking, an example came to mind. This, everybody's sweetheart right now in Nollywood, Uzo Arukwe.
Oh yes.
He keeps telling his story that he was laid off or fired from Etisalat. And that was his push into. So he was already doing small things here and there, but it was just like side hustle type stuff. But after he got laid off from Nine Mobile or Etisalat at the time, is when he went into acting full time. And today he's one of the biggest faces in Nollywood. So to your point around, it's disappointing. It's disappointing. It's painful, but you never know if this is your push into your actual calling, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just sort of to wrap this up, and just give you some encouragement. Like we've said, we know it's painful. We know it really hurts, and there are all these emotions you're feeling. But just remember that it's not the end. Your script is still being written. A layoff is not the end of your life. It's not. This is not the full stop, right? The script is still being written. I know it's painful. We know it's painful, but just knowing that it's life. Sometimes we go through gloomy times, gloomy days. But the sun will come out again. The sun will come out again. Opportunities will come, whether in the corporate space, in the informal space, or whatever, gig, like she said, the gig space or the gig economy. Like opportunities will come again. So just also being optimistic about it. We fall into this, I'm being realistic, things are bad, there's a depression, that mindset is not really going to help you when you're going through this. So try to be optimistic, and just know that brighter days will come.
Yeah. I think what I'll add would just actually be a prayer, Dekemz. And I think really, for the depth of our hearts, I'm just I pray for anyone who is going through this season right now, and I truly pray that God shines light and just creates a door and just take share of this season and open a new door for you.
Amen.
I pray favor will surround you as a shield.
Amen.
And when you least expected, God will show up for you and He will not leave you stranded.
Amen.
I pray that you will not, you will not be helpless, you will not be without help. God will show up for you. He will make His name great in your life. and you would testify very, very
Amen.
soon in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
And when you get that role and that opportunity, that new job, please hit us a shout out. Let us know in the comments. We're rooting for you, want to celebrate with you. And don't forget, this is not the end.
It's not.
This is not the end.
It's not. Okay. Alrighty.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this episode. Again, please, if please, would like you to. I know you'll find it useful, so please like, share, subscribe, and please share with people around you as well. And we'd love to hear in the comments as well. If you need some guidance on counsel, please don't even hesitate. Hit us up, LinkedIn, IG, on YouTube. Just hit us up, and we'll be more than happy to engage and just connect with you and discuss more. Until next time, take care.